guys. Just letting everybody get logged on really quick. Bear with me. Does anybody have any questions right out of the gate? Unless we have something in detail to go over today, I'm sure this is going to be a short meeting. I'm going to tell you guys all to go apply for the money. And going forward for the month of October, you are not going to be able to do an eviction for October unless you've proved you've applied for the government funds. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. So it's probably the law. Just saying. But yeah, that's my big thing is if you don't apply for the money, you're going to have to apply for the money to evict for the month of October. I don't know how that's going to carry on through November. I do know we have new cover sheets to go on top of evictions. And we expect to see a slowdown with the courts because of the new process and procedure that will be implemented because of evictions. And cash for keys is probably your best option. It'll save you time. Yeah, it's going to cost you money, but so is fighting a legal battle. If you can't come to a cash for keys agreement, don't lollygag, okay? If you guys can't come to an agreement fairly quickly, don't keep holding out or depending on them, start the legal case. They could be playing games with you. That's what I'm trying to say. Does anybody have anything for me today? No? No questions? Nothing anybody wants to talk about? If you haven't applied for the government money and you have a tenant that's delinquent and you're looking at evicting, you're going to have to apply for it before you even ask for October's rent. You're going to have to wait 20 days after the 3-day and prove that you applied before you're going to be able to file the case. So I don't know how much more of that will be going on, but we definitely need to keep track of it. I anticipate seeing quite a few changes in the legal process and procedure. We currently have a 3-page cover sheet on the front of all evictions. So it actually will change because it has to do with the COVID pandemic. So we'll see some delays with our legal counsel. Just so everybody knows. Yeah, that's where I'm headed, girl. Recap and get everybody prepared for October 1st. Yes, just to recap, October 1st in LARSO, we have a tenant who received the bulk of his overdue rent from HDICLA. Okay, congratulations. I'm ecstatic for you. That is awesome news. And he has a new application with Cal Covet for the remaining balance. Do I still go through the posting notice, etc.? Yes, you still have to do your job. So that's one of the big things is keep going through the process, keep following the rules. I don't know, somebody made mention that they may be paying right October 1st, go through all the motions. You may not be able to do an eviction if you're in the city of LA. Tenants are going to have an additional 12 months of protections. That's something you definitely want to talk to your legal counsel about. But my thing is talk to the tenant, okay? And I'm going to give you guys there's just a few of you on here, so you're going to get it, okay? If it got to a point where I personally, and it was time for me to go terminate the tenancy with my tenant and tell him, hey, you got to go kick rocks, whatever, you got to go. I would go have a conversation with them. And this is how the conversation would go. I know that we always haven't seen eye to eye, and I'm trying to be the bigger person here and go out on a limb and say, I will offer you this much money if you're out of my property in 45 days. And let's say I'm saying 20 grand. I'll give you 20 grand if you're gone in 45 days. That is my best, my final, and the only offer I'm going to give to you. If you accept it, you can fill out this paperwork. Mind you, the paperwork has no bearing, okay? Other than you're promising that that's the amount you're going to give them. And then I would tell them, here's the reality. You could get free legal counsel and they could drag out some time, but rather than giving them a third of the money, I'd rather just put more in your pocket. So can't we come to an agreement rather than going through the legal process, you hiring Bosta or whomever you choose, they're going to get a third of anything that you're awarded. Why don't I just give you an amount that we agree upon today and bypass that? That's how I would approach them. That's just me. Let them think about it, you know, give them a number, let them think about it. Don't expect an answer right there. Let them sit on it for a couple of days. Because if they call Bosta and ask them, are you going to keep a third of any money that I'm awarding? They have to be honest with them. So that might make them trigger, hey, you know, my landlord's coming forth, being open and honest with me and telling me that although the court may award me $50,000, Bosta is going to take a third of it. I didn't know that. So you're also educating them at the same time. It's worth a shot. If they say, I don't need 30 days or 45 days, I need 6 months, realize this. The more you negotiate, the more you're exposing yourself for the opportunity for them to fail you. Does that make sense? So the longer time you add in there is more time for them to talk to other, oh, you could get this. Oh, you could, we don't want that. They're going to do it. But, you know, I'd tell them, let me know in 24 hours. And I'd approach it that way. But I definitely try to offer cash for keys before I even attempted the legal process. And then I tell them, I'm really good at my job. Please don't make me do my job. But if I have to do my job, I have to do my job. But I'd rather just put more money in your pocket. It may work. It may not. Your alternative is to get into the legal system. It's ludicrous. I know. But I would very much consider cash for keys than getting lost in the legal system. Why do I say that? We have people that have been in eviction for 16 months, the entire pandemic. They haven't gotten paid. Tenant won't apply for the money, blah, 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 blah. There's no case law. So 98% of all cases are being contested. 92% of them are settling. So hold on a second. Why do you want to waste 6 months, 12 months arguing in a courtroom when you're going to end up settling anyway? Cash for keys is going to save you time. And most likely it's going to save you money because you're not going to be spending all that money on legal expenses. So definitely something to think about. Again, if you can't come to an agreement, your alternative is only to go through the legal process. So keep that in mind. I mean, it's getting rough out there. We are seeing lots of settlement agreements for tenants. They're waiving everything. And I mean everything, past due rents, damages. Owners just want their properties back. So they're doing a lot. If you waive all of that and pay them money, I mean, it just makes sense to offer them a decent amount of money to go away in the event that you need them out of the property. I wouldn't want to be in the legal system right now. Not my choice. All right. Anybody have questions today? Something that they want to talk about? Get after. I know there's a big webinar that we're doing with AGLA tomorrow on tenant advocate groups and what they want. They don't want us to know. The reality is they don't want us to know that they're just going to end up settling with us at a later date. So, but they get paid for dragging you over the coals. They get a third of the money. That's why they're so relentless. Okay, they get a third of all the money awarded to the tenant. Need me to say that one more time? I know they're nonprofit. They're appointed by the federal government, so we pay for them anyway, but they also get 1/3 of any monies awarded to them in a court. Okay. Okay, everybody got that? I know it's not the best news ever. And here comes a long one. Okay. If they don't pay rent for October, you're going to have to apply for the money before you can evict. It's bizarre. Yesterday, we had our final hearing in court for a tenant who hadn't been paying pre-COVID rent in LA RSO. I do not recommend Dennis Block's office if you do go the legal route. It was a shit show. You can say that on my website, you guys, no filters here, okay? And please, if anybody's offended, I apologize in advance, but we talk how we feel with a little filter, okay? We had 4 different attorneys, 3 different ones for 3 different court appearances. Yesterday, it ended up that me and the property manager negotiated directly over the phone with opposing counsel. Ooh, now we are waiting for the tenant to apply for the rent relief, part of your agreement. Good choice. Any other suggestions on the legal team that if we know have to go through evictions again? Make them apply for the money. That's one of the things you can do in an agreement. If he doesn't apply for the money, see if you can do a stipulated court agreement. And if he doesn't apply for the money within 10 days, then it unseals the record and makes all your money due. Got it? So have them sign a stipulated agreement stating that they will apply for the government funds within 10 days. They'll vacate the unit, blah, 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 like a normal stipulated agreement, but add in there that they must apply for the government funds within 10 days. And if they don't, then the record gets unsealed, the judgment goes on them, etc. So I know you have Dennis Block, but have them write a stipulated agreement. You need that. Sorry, I'm still letting people in. I know I keep touching the screen, my bad. But there's a few things in there that you can do to help protect you as far as a written agreement goes. I know you have an oral agreement for them to apply for the money, but get that in a stipulated agreement in writing, because then it's enforceable by the court. So if they don't apply, then you unseal the record, the eviction shows on their credit, and the money that's owed to you would show. So you want the money judgment to show as well. When is the scheduled COVID ending? The end of this month, Mark, the 30th of September, and it will not be extended. We had a stip sign to apply by the 27th and within reasonable time to show us proof. Okay, if they don't, and you have a stipulation signed and it's filed with the court. So if they don't do that and they don't apply for the money, then you want to do a declaration of non-compliance with the court on the stipulated agreement, and that would do your stip terms. In other words, it unseals the record, the money judgment shows everything's on their credit. So that's a declaration of non-compliance that has to be filed with the court. I hope that answered your question. We had a stip sign. Oh, I might have read that one. Yes, filed with the court and another court hearing on the 8th to follow up. Okay. And if that time, you could probably do the deck of non-compliance on the 8th follow-up, but you can file the deck of we had a signed stip that he has to apply by the 27th and show you proof. If he doesn't do that, you talk to Block's office, but I believe the process and procedure as far as court policies would then be to file the deck of non-compliance when you go back to court, and then they would issue judgment based on whatever your stipulated agreement was. I love that it unseals the records. I'm hoping that they didn't add that into legal mumbo with our, I hope they added that into your legal. So how you can look at that is get a copy of your stipulated agreement, and it should be all spelled out in there what was stipulated. But a lot of them, what they're doing is they're waiving all damages and waiving all monies owed and be out of the property in 45 days. So that's huge. They're also asking them to apply for the money within 10 days. And that's where we got a little bit of a hook in them, because if they don't apply for the money, we're not going to get paid necessarily through the government, but it would unseal the record, put their eviction, and put the money judgment against them. Therefore, we could start a wage garnishment when the law allowed. Got it? So you want to be really careful what verbiage you're putting in those stipulated agreements. If you're waiving the money and making them apply, and they do apply, they don't owe the money anyway, you guys. Did you catch that? Were you paying attention? Big deep breath, think about it. If you tell them you're going to waive all the money they owe, and you're going to waive the damages, and you're going to keep the security deposit, or you're going to refund the deposit, make sure you define where the deposit's going, very important, and they don't comply, then you can have terms for non-compliance. It unseals the record, so you're sealing the record. It puts the money judgment on them for all the rents that are due. That's huge. So just remember that stipulated agreement. And if you're in litigation, start trying to stipulate an agreement ASAP. Just my opinion, not my advice. Okay. And if you're in litigation with BOSTA, don't panic. They're going to start high at $100,000, $150,000. Don't panic. Okay. It all comes in negotiation. So then what you do is call your attorney back and tell them you can't possibly do that. You want to offer 10,000. And then the negotiation starts. And every week you need to be on your attorney like clockwork. And when they say, hey, you know, we're working really hard for you. Yeah, I'm also paying you to do this. Sometimes you got to remind them that you're paying them. Okay. But see how quickly you can negotiate a cash for keys agreement or a settlement contract. I'm sorry, two different terms, same concept, but see how quickly you can get that done. 92% of all cases currently are ending in a stipulated agreement. So my theory is, if you're going to spend all this money and all this time to end up at a stipulated agreement anyway, why not do that with cash for keys and try to avoid the whole legal process? Just saying, makes sense to me. Okay. No rent increases for 6 months. Mark, what county are you in, sir? Help me help you. I love that it unseals the records, hoping, yep, read your stipulation. Late fees are allowed starting October 1st, depending on what county you're in. I think I will send it to you. Okay, whatever you need me to do, Melanie, I got you guys. Always, I'm here to help you guys. That's what I do. I'm that second set of eyes. Does anybody have anything for me today? I just asked because I'm in Maryland and it's cold and rainy, and you're in San Bernardino. Okay, Mark, hold on. Let me go back and look. And the only reason I'm asking is different counties have different rules, and that's as simply as I could say that. So what do you want to do, Mark? You want to do a rent increase? In San Bernardino County, here's the gist of it, okay? It depends. And I'm being completely open and honest with you, okay? So please listen to what I'm saying. Technically, there's no law yet that says that you can't give them a rent increase on October 1st. However, if they were affected by the pandemic, in other words, they paid late once, they didn't pay you, you're owed money, whatever the issue is. Hold on, you guys, I'm letting peeps in, sorry. You want to make sure that you understand that they were affected. And if they're affected, then they're protected. So anytime we call code enforcement or fair housing or have bed bugs, we can't terminate tenancy or increase rents within 6 months, or it's considered retaliatory with the Department of Fair Housing. My question becomes, what is a global pandemic going to do? So with that being said, if you want to terminate tenancy without cause, or you want to increase the rents, I highly recommend you do that on April Fool's Day next year. It's giving you a 6-month buffer. They can't possibly come back and say it's retaliatory. You understand? So to be completely, totally as safe as possible, wait till April Fool's Day and serve the notice on April Fool's Day. That is the best business practice and the safest plan for the pandemic on areas that weren't affected by additional moratoriums. San Bernardino County is not affected by an additional moratorium. What am I talking about? It's a lot. The city of Los Angeles has a moratorium in place that will give the tenants an additional 12 months of protection. Therefore, you can't increase rents or terminate tenancy without cause in the city of Los Angeles until October 1st of 2022. Okay. In the county of Los Angeles, it's 6 months, so April Fool's Day. And in the county of San Diego, also an additional 6 months of protection. Can't do anything until April Fool's Day. San Diego County's moratorium is atrocious. You can't evict for anything nuisance unless you have a police report and somebody's been murdered. Don't even try. They're rock solid of nobody's leaving. It ain't gonna happen. Don't even get involved in the mess, because it is a mess. San Diego's moratorium is insane. And again, if you want to charge late fees, not during the pandemic period, but October 1st should be business as normal. Again, depending on what county you're in. The counties I just mentioned, LA City, LA County, San Diego County have additional tenant protections after the pandemic period ends. Okay, anybody have anything else? Nothing? I'm excited. The end of the month is coming. Make sure you guys apply for the money. I can't tell you enough. If your tenant owes you rent, apply for the money. They're going to make it impossible for us to file future evictions on 3 days unless we show proof that we applied for the money. I know it's weird. I had a conversation with an attorney for almost an hour saying, but even for October, what if I just want to evict for October's rent and don't want to do anything that happened in the pandemic? You have to apply for the money, is what I've been told. So even if you want to evict in October because they don't pay you, you have to apply for the money before you can start the eviction. You have to apply for the money and wait 20 days. I was dumbfounded, but okay. Nothing seems to amaze me anymore with what's happening with our bureaucracy. And I'll leave it at that. So even if you want to evict for October's rent, you're going to have to show proof that you applied for the money, which doesn't make sense to me because they're not going to go forward and pay October and so forth, but who knows? What I wouldn't give to be a tenant. Okay, Anna, let's see what you got. So Patty, I manage an LA RSO, and if the resident has paid the rent in full to present, but come October 1st of 2021, for any reason, they can't pay, what do I have to do? Serve them a 3-day notice to pay rent or quit and apply for the government money for October, is what I've been told by several different attorneys. Wait 20 days and then file the lawsuit. Got it? I know it sounds totally bizarre. It is totally bizarre. It's ludicrous to me. Why, if the protected period and they're going to pay us all the way through September, why would I apply for money for October if I'm not going to get paid because the protected period's ended? It makes no sense. So that tells me it's probably the law. For the rent relief, I had to call a link and landlord account and the tenant account so I could see the actual status on the porthole. Otherwise, it was stuck in application process. It was super easy to call the program and have the tenant application added to mine, just an FYI. Everybody got that? So you can add them. And if you applied previously to when they opened up LARSO and you haven't heard anything, reapply. You fell through the cracks. So do San Diego County rules include the city of San Diego or just the incorporated area? Are you sitting down? The entire county of San Diego is affected. It's not the city, it's the entire county. Ouch. So La Mesa, city of San Diego, all of it. Anything in the county is affected, and they are like they won't evict for anything. They're not doing lockouts. Everything's just froze. They are not even evicting for a nuisance. Has nothing to do with COVID. It's bizarre. So if you're in San Diego, know exactly what you're up against right now. Remember right before they passed this last extension bill, how San Diego did that weird moratorium and it shut down everything? That weird shutdown will stay in place for 6 months after the protected period ends at the end of this month. Patty, what if we did apply for the money and I get paid and the tenant doesn't pay October 1st? Then serve them a 3-day notice, show proof that you applied for the money for October, go back and reapply for October. I know it sounds bizarre. And if it says you don't qualify because it's ended, screenshot that. Prove that you tried to apply. Okay. It's something weird the courts are requiring, and they're requiring it on the new paperwork. So your attorney is going to have that information. Have to. Or they won't even let them file the case. There's going to be a new cover sheet on the front of all summons and complaints that your legal counsel will be dealing with. Currently, it's a 4-page document. It'll be in depth and breadth. You'll probably have to sign it saying you applied for the money. You'll have to fill out if you got paid, if you didn't get paid. This is where the government's going to really be into your business if they paid you before, if you're trying to evict for non-payment. Just to make sure I understand LARSO, I can raise rents again October 1st, 2022. I wouldn't wait an additional 6 months. Oh, no. The moratorium gave them an additional 12 months. That's enough for me. Don't give them any more time. And remember, if they're affected, they're protected. So some people are saying, yeah, some attorneys will say, oh yeah, go ahead, do a rent increase. Why are they telling you that? And why is Patty telling you something different? I don't make money for standing next to you and defending you in a courtroom. I don't. Okay. I don't. And the reality is there's no case law to say if they can or they can't. So what that attorney is banking on is you getting sued and them defending you and it going all the way to a case law case or settlement. Okay. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to stand next to you in a court of law. What I'm here to do is tell you how to stay out of that altogether. Make sense? I want you to err on the side of caution and avoid the legal process. Right now, it is super long and super costly. I mean, come on. You know, when you go and you hand them a case and say, okay, give me the case number, just that process in parts of San Bernardino County, that process is 45 to 60 days. It was up to 60 days. And when the courts realized it was taking 60 days, they got to hire someone new. Now they're back at 45 days. When they get up to 60 days again, they'll get permission to hire someone new. See how that works? Okay, let's see. I got another one. Oh, you wish I was there in the courtroom. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because no, you don't. I got to pinch I do this to remind myself to keep my mouth shut because I'm a firecracker. When it comes to bullshit, I'm a firecracker. So when they're like, oh, we never got a notice. Really? Because you stood there and told me all about your kid's birthday, but that isn't the time for you to do that stuff. It's time for you to be quiet. and just hush and be a professional adult and let them have their time. And then when it's your turn to talk, you can explain in depth and breadth what happened. But for me, I just stick to legal terms. I stick to, example, she came over to my place and she legally raised my rent while I was living there. I'll pull up the notice of the rent increase while she's blurting her mouth to the judge, because I have my entire file there and it's marked rent increase notice. And I'll flip it over and it actually tells you the civil code to do a rent increase right on the rent increase notice. So I'd say to the judge when it's my turn, Your Honor, I'm in complete compliance with California Civil Code 154, whatever it is. It's not, I don't know that one by heart, but as per her written 30-day notice to increase rent dated April, whatever. And then I keep going on her other points and just slam her back with civil codes. What does that do? It tells the judge I know what I'm talking about, and I can provide the documents if he needs them. I have them all in my file. So when you're organized and you come back with facts and stay away from the drama, you're much more likely to prevail in a courtroom. Why do I say that? Judges hate the drama. It takes time for you to tell your story of why you didn't pay and blip, 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 blip. It all takes time, and they have cases coming at them. So they want to get you out of there as quickly as possible. I would say your average time in front of the judge is anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes. So in that time, you don't want to be talking about drama. Just stick to the facts, defend yourself, prove your case. Simple. Don't get caught up in the drama of your tenant. Let them run their mouth. You keep doing this, and this is to remind you to stay quiet. All right, anybody have anything? Or I'm going to cut this meeting short today. I'm in Baltimore and we're having crabs, blue crabs tonight. I'm excited about it. Okay, if I could tell you guys one thing, get all your ducks lined up, make sure you have an accounting of what happened during the pandemic if you're ready for small claims court. Thank you, Mark. Good seeing you. If you're doing small claims court, that opens November 1st. Here's my opinion, not my advice. Since it opens up for the entire state of California on November 1st, remember your statute of limitations there on the unlimited amount, I believe, is 4 years. So what am I trying to say to you? Don't run down to the courthouse on November 1st and get lost in the shuffle with everyone else. That's all. You have plenty of time. You can wait till January and then file. I just would hate to see 10,000 cases being dumped into a courtroom and them falling through the cracks and that be you. Don't run with the masses, okay? Property managers have these cases sitting on their desks and they know they can't file until November 1st. They're ready to go. They have stacks of them. Don't get lost in the shuffle. That's all I'm trying to say. Wait a couple months, then go. Tomorrow's webinar is with AGLA, the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles, and it's basically what tenant advocate groups want you to know or don't want you to know. And they don't want you to know that they're federally, well, it's obvious that they're funded by the federal government. What they don't want you to know is that they get paid 1/3 of all that money that gets paid to the tenant. A lot of people don't know that. A lot. Tenants don't realize they're signing up for that when they walk in and sign the retainer. All they heard is, we'll take your case for $200. So basically what I'm going into is what those tenant advocate groups don't want you to know, and how you can help protect yourself is your attorney's fees clause, as you guys well know. And if you really want to be transparent, put on there that each party is responsible for their own attorney's fees. Because then you don't get stuck paying their attorney's fees or paying attorney's fees to their attorney. It's just a better way to protect yourself. All right, you guys have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow if you're joining us at the AGLA webinar. If not, I will see the rest of you next week. And as we get closer to ending this pandemic, like I said, we'll get more and more updates. But for now, apply for the money. Go apply for it. The government is not digging in depth and breadth at you. They're digging in depth and breadth with the tenant. Okay? They just want to make sure you own the property and the tenant owes you the rent, and probably that your taxes are paid would be my guess, but what do I know? All right, you guys have a great week. If you need anything, please hunt me down. I'm here for you always. And we will chat soon. Bye.